Hello, my name is Renee and I'm going to show you how to make floating shelves in Palia. So we're going to start out with this and turn it into this. I really think it makes a big difference to have those pieces hidden. Here's what it looks like, all completed and decorated. So to start off, we're taking the shelves and placing them on the wall exactly where you want them to be after. So I'm using here the industrial wall shelves. I have 6 of them in the colorway Calathea. It's the green one. And I'm really just taking my time here to line everything up perfectly and exactly where I want it. And that will really help with the next step of the tutorial. Next, I'm going to take these builder's iron pillars. You don't have to use the iron ones. You can also use the wood, the stone. I just like the way that these ones look, and I'm just topping them onto each other like so. And now we're going to take our shelves and place them onto the pillar at the same height that you had them on your wall. This might take a little bit of playing around, but what you can do is use your other shelves as a guide to make sure they're all at the same height. And just a little bit of side note about the pillars, if you haven't gotten that recipe before, you can obtain this at City Hall, which is where Kenyatta spends most of her day. You can also get some other builders' recipes from the City Hall in Kilima Village, including the small stone crate, which we'll be using in this tutorial. So make sure to check that out if you haven't already. And once I got my first pillar done, I moved the pillars outside so that I could see a little bit better what I was doing, and I can make sure that they were lining up perfectly because I really want them to be even once it all goes in together. I even used a little chest to help me see exactly where these are going. Okay, now that the pillars are done, I'm going to be moving them back inside, but when I place them, line them up exactly where they were before. So I turned the grid off to do this, and I'm getting it as close as I can to the wall, and this is going to help when we begin to sink the pillars into the wall. Okay, and now we're going to take our stone crates. This is what you can get from the City Hall. And I want to place it in the center of that grid space so it is perfectly lined up. This will just help us measure things out when we go to bring the pillars outside. Now we can grab our stone pillar and bring it outside, and we're actually going to be ghosting this close to the crate. And what that means is we're just going to pull out a placeable item from our hotbar. You can see here I'm actually pressing 1 or 2 to try to get my item out, and I forgot. So here I am scrolling, so I have some placeable items to choose from in my hotbar. Now when we place this, we want to get it as close to the crate as possible without touching, and then I'm pressing 2 to bring out the chest. Now we can alt select, so pointing at the crate, you press Alt and you should be able to see that the pillar is highlighting. That's when you know you've got the Alt select correctly. So I click my left click and line it up where it was before. And now we're just going to bring it backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces and left click to place. And you'll see it disappears. Now once we go back into the conservatory, you're going to see it's actually sunken into the wall. And yeah, there we have it. We have our first floating shelves. So now we can do the other side. So reset your stone crate, make sure it's in the center, and we just do the same thing. So we grab our pillar, we're going to ghost it with our placeable items, pressing 2 on the keyboard to bring out that chest. And now we can alt select our crate, bringing it back 5 spaces, and once you go back inside you'll see you've got your floating shelves. Congratulations! Okay, so the major downfall to this design, I will show you it now. After the first wall, I went outside to check, and oop, I noticed I could actually see the steel beams. Now this is pretty unavoidable with the conservatory as the walls are pretty thin, but what we can do is hide the actual shelves that you can see. So I grab my pillar, I'm gonna ghost it close to the crate. And the fact that I can see the shelves means that the pillar is too far backwards. So what I want to do is my alt select, and I'm just gonna shift it forward ever so slightly. So now you can see that they're actually disappearing. I don't think this looks too bad with the steel pillar. This is actually why I think the steel pillar looks a bit better than maybe the stone or the wood. Totally up to you, but happened for me on the same side for the second pillar. So here I am just fixing that up. Alt select and moving it forward a little bit. It can take a couple tries to get this right, but keep persistent and you will get it. And it's even more practice for the next time you want to use this ghosting method to either sync items, or there's some really fun tutorials where you can even float them in the sky or sink them into the ground. But there we have it. This is how it looks on the outside. I also removed the trees in front of the steel pillars. I think you can find some creative ways to cover it up if you didn't like that look, but I think it still looks really great, especially once we go inside and see the beautiful finishing touches of the decorating. I think it looks so amazing in here and I am in love with it. Just as a little bonus, I did try these on the Alchemist housing line and the Harvest House line. So as you can see, the Alchemist had a little bit of glitching on the outside, which was very easily fixed by moving that forward ever so slightly. Now you can see there's no glitching on the outside, and when you go inside you still have your floating shelves. Same as the Harvest House, this does work with the pillars, but also these wooden walls, which can get very creative as well if you did want a large wall of shelves, which you'll see here in a minute. So here I am just showing you that you can see the floating shelves and you can see absolutely nothing on the outside, which is awesome. Woo! Yay! And here I am showing you that big bookcase. You could absolutely fill this entire wall with the shelves. There's a lot of cool things you can do here. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you did like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you want to see any other tutorials from me, let me know. I love doing them. I love challenging myself to make these videos. So yeah, see you in the next one.